What is up, bro? What's going on? Thank you for joining us again. If you're returning, we have a new setup. But if you're new here, welcome. My name is Jake. This is Stop Skinny Fat, where we help men in their 20s lose up to 25 pounds of body fat, build lean muscle and confidence, all in just 90 days. So in this video, I'm gonna go over how to have consistency with your workouts and your diet, because that's the ultimate thing you need, to be honest. Because if you're doing something for a certain amount of time, you need to be consistent with it. Because we all know fitness is something you do for the long run. Yes, you can achieve all these great results in 90 days, but ultimately, if you want to be in it for the long run, you're going to get the greatest results. But how are you supposed to be able to stick with something for a year, a month, a week, even a couple days if you have no sense of consistency? So it's a really important thing to build. I'm going to go over the exact steps of how I did it myself, how I helped just 3 of my clients do it. I help people more do it too, but these 3 clients were definitely struggling with it the most, and how you can actually take the steps to do it yourself after watching this video. So if that sounds good, let's get straight into it. So the reason we're covering consistency is because this was such an important thing for me, and I see it all the time with my own clients. Because when I first started in the gym, sure, I enjoyed it. I love the feeling of going to the gym. I love being active, everything like that. But in that first year, I would go every so often, or I would skip a week, and that was a normal occurrence. And obviously, you're not going to get good results if you're skipping a week. Plus, that means your time in the gym is not even as committed, because you're only going off little bursts of motivation rather than actual discipline and consistency. My diet, it was also happening where I would some days feel super motivated. I would go to the grocery store, buy a bunch of good, healthy foods, cut out sugar, cut out carbs, whatever it is. And I'd feel good for a couple of days, but then, those Oreos would look really tempting, or my buddy would come over with a big bag of Takis and chips and salsa, and I'd be like, you know what? I guess I'll have this. And then the results showed for it, because your consistency and your actions is what dictates your results. And I felt like every step I was taking forward, I was also taking 2 steps backward at the same time, because I was not able to stay consistent and wasn't really sure what I was doing, to be honest. And if this is how you feel, it's a very common place to be at, especially when you're starting. So the 3 of my clients I helped do this was Marvin, Gio, and Jared. Marvin was all over the place with his workout routine. He would go to the gym, but he wasn't sure what to do, so he'd just walk around and see whatever machines looked good and would do that. And obviously, we were not getting good results because he had no idea of how many sets, reps, rest times, even a simple layout of what kind of compound lifts or what you structure your days like. He would have a chest day, an arm day, and skip leg day, and was wondering why he was getting mediocre results, but in reality, he actually knew what it was. He just never had a plan or the consistency. On a similar note, my client Gio, he was struggling with really bad body images and confidence issues, and that was mostly because of his diet. His diet was not good. He would try to eat less, and this is what a ton of people think. This is what I did for years myself before I actually learned. Because you think, okay, yeah, if you eat less, you're not gonna gain as much weight, because I'm gaining weight because I'm eating too much. Now, yes, you're right, but also you're completely wrong, and I don't want to confuse you. But the reason for that is you need to be in a calorie deficit. You need to eat less calories, not necessarily less food, but we'll get into that a little more later. But how do we get you on a diet that is consistent and you're able to stick with, right? Now, my client Jared, he was pretty good. He had a simple gym routine in place. He had a fair diet to go off of, but would be inconsistent because he would just end up skipping days in the gym because he didn't feel motivated, didn't want to go, wasn't seeing the results. And when those cravings hit, he would ultimately just cave in, because the cravings just overpowered any sense of power, any sense of discipline or motivation he had. He had a simple workout plan. It was actually working decently well. He had a simple diet structure to follow as well too. But with the workout plan, he wasn't entirely sure what he was doing, so he wasn't getting the best results. Therefore, he would skip days every once in a while. And then when his cravings came to kick him, they kicked him really, really hard and sent him back, putting him back at day 0 just about every single week when he was failing on the weekends. So what we did is we got them set up with a regular plan for the gym, 4 days a week, 1 hour per session in the gym, so they had enough time and they were maximally putting on muscle and losing fat at the same time. And the same thing with the diet, a simple plan that's easy to follow with small little substitutions got every single one of them to win. Marvin was super inconsistent with his workouts, but with the changes in the workout plan we gave him, and I was also there to hold him accountable to be like, hey dude, you're not doing this, you missed your workout, you need to show up today. Okay, you didn't do this. Now he's doing it. He was crushing his workouts back to back to back. He was gaining muscle actually really, really fast. And Gio actually got in some better diet habits and stopped binging completely, which was super nice. Got him to have a sustainable diet where he was consistently getting in protein to keep him full and to actually build muscle, and then starting to work out in the gym because he hadn't before that. And when he started to lose weight, the weight was dropping and his self-esteem was growing. More confidence, everything like that. And Jared was able to control his cravings because I shared with him, dude, you can still enjoy the foods you love. If it is really high in calorie, you do have to budget for it some days, and that's okay. You budget for the high calorie food when you go with your friends. That was a big thing he would do often. And then you would have room for it, you would eat it, and you still have all your calories in the day, so you're still not eating too much. So now that I've shown you this is actually possible, why is this so important to stay consistent with your diet and your workout? You gotta think of it like this: without consistency, literally all of your efforts are gonna go to waste. Because you could be super dialed for a day, a week, a month even, but as soon as you fall off, it leads almost to a downward spiral of actions that are going to self-sabotage you. For example, when I started, I was doing really well for about the first 6-7 months. I was only taking a couple days off. Once in a while, I'd have a week where I didn't go to the gym or kind of fall off my diet. But the point is, I went on vacation and then really messed things up because I was like, you know what, I can't diet out here. I'm just gonna eat whatever I want. And the scale and the mirror both replicated that and showed that, like, hey, you're gaining a ton of weight, and it didn't feel good. I was like, I've been doing all this progress, but why is it not showing up for me? Why is it not working for me? Because I thought the world was fair. You know, I thought I put in all this work. I've gone to the gym so much. I've gotten a little bit of muscle definition. I've lost some weight. But now when I'm actually able to enjoy myself, why is all the weight coming back? Why is it looking like I put in zero work when I've been putting in so much work? This is not fair. But if I had consistency and realized that I know how to do this, because you can still travel and enjoy yourself and still be on a diet and stick to your meal plan. That's actually very simple. That's a common thing that a lot of people mess up. But having sustainability and regularity is the key to the long-lasting results. Because you gotta think about it, you need to be able to keep up with it for the rest of your life. Not for a year, not for 5 years, 10 years, for the rest of your life, dude. Because if you want to have the body, it's gotta be upkept. It's not like you go to the gym, you work out, you have a good diet for a year, you get a 6-pack of abs, and you can eat whatever you want for the rest of your life and you're set because you have the muscle and you've lost the weight. No, you have to keep up with it. And you might not want to hear that answer, but that's the reality of it. And the way that you do this is by building habits that stick. Now we're gonna go over what exact habits you need to build, but just know it's what you do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, counting your calories, showing up to the gym 4 days per week for an hour. All those little things, they all add up to make a sustainable approach for you that's gonna last for life. Now, another one of the most important things is the mindset. You need to get your mindset in check before you even do any of this stuff. So when your mindset is in check, you're committed, and you also need to be patient and realize you're not gonna see results right away. Now, it is true in the first year of weightlifting and dieting, everything like that, you're gonna put on the most muscle you will probably ever build ever again, unless you use, forbidden substances. But the first year, you're going from 0 to actually having muscle. So you're gonna see huge changes, but it's also not gonna be overnight. It's not gonna be instantaneous. You're not gonna work out for a month and then see a 6-pack as soon as that. If you have extra fat on you, if you're already skinny, you might, but you see what I mean? It's gonna take time. You have to have patience and trust the process. And like I said, in Jared's case, it was super common to when you don't get results, you don't wanna continue because you feel like your efforts aren't working. You feel like, well, this isn't working for me, so I'm just gonna stop, change my approach, or just quit completely, which is tarnishing your progress that you've already made so far. And you've got to think about this in the long term. Think about it like a journey. It's a journey, it's a marathon around a couple laps. It's not a 40-yard dash, it's not a sprint. Slowly make small changes and you do things over and over, get a little bit better every single week, every single month, every single year you're getting better at what you're doing. And you learn and you adapt from there. So one of the most important things to stay on the mental side is to celebrate your small wins. So when you're like, hey, I stuck to my diet for a whole week, a whole entire 7 days, I didn't go over my calorie limit. You might be like, Jake, that is nothing to brag home about. It is, because think about it. You a week ago were not able to do that. If you cheated before in your diet and you're like, well, now I did it. That's something to celebrate. When you celebrate that, your mind is in a state of gratitude. And when we're in gratitude, we feel better and you're gonna achieve your goals even sooner because you're like, you know what? Look at everything's around me. I may not have a 6-pack yet. I may still have some extra flab on me, but I'm going to the gym. I'm working on my diet and I'm actually starting to see a little bit of results. This is exciting. That's the whole part of the journey. Think about it as a journey, not a race to the end goal. Another thing to think about is the old typical way of doing this versus the Stop Skinny Fat, the new way that's actually sustainable you can keep up with for the rest of your life. The old way is just doing random workouts, showing up to the gym, doing what feels good, or going to the gym for 2 hours, 3 hours even, because you're like, you know what, I'm gonna show up, I wanna give my everything, because I wanna get the result as soon as possible, okay? Other people, they go to the gym 2 times per day, which is absolute insanity. Like, well, I'm gonna do my cardio and I'm gonna weightlift for 2 hours because I wanna gain muscle and no pain, no gain. You're overtraining, you're overworking yourself, and you're not gonna be able to do that consistently. Same thing goes for your diet. If you're doing anything that's cutting out any food group, anything like that, keto, you're cutting out carbs. Carnivore, you're eating nothing but meat. Fasting, you're cutting out meals, entire meals out of your day. Cutting out sugar, that too, that's a good thing. It's a good example, but it's a horrible thing. If you cut something out, it is no longer sustainable. I've literally talked about this before. So like if you're cutting out carbs or you're cutting out sugar and it comes time for your kid's birthday party, how are you gonna show up and eat there? Are you really not gonna eat the cake? You're not gonna have one bite because you're so disciplined and so hard to yourself to, I'm never gonna eat carbs, I'm never gonna eat sugar. Dude, you don't need to be stressing like that. If you lose the weight, you need to keep up with it. Why would you still be cutting carbs? And if it's just not a good way to lose weight in general, okay? None of that stuff. So what you can do is a sustainable approach because you want to be able to enjoy yourself and keep up with it the entire time. You need to have a structured, sustainable plan that gets you growth consistently over time, okay? So, for example, in the gym, instead of spending all of your time, all of your stress, all of your dedication, running, maybe sweating, doing all this excess work that's not needed because you feel like it's needed, but it's really not. All you need to do is go to the gym 4 days a week for an hour per session. That's literally it. I know you're like, that sounds really, really short. It sounds too good to be true. Try it out yourself. As long as you're training hard and you're giving your all in the gym, you're really, really pushing yourself, 1 hour is all you need to maximize, yes, maximize, not get a little bit, maximize your muscle growth, okay? That's your time in the gym. That's super important. That's gonna be weightlifting only. You don't need cardio. That's a big surprise. You don't need cardio. Everyone thinks you need cardio. You don't. It's not a thing you need. Now, if you do wanna keep your mentality in check, I do recommend a little bit of cardio. And here's what I recommend, which you should definitely do literally today because it will show insane benefits. If you're feeling stressed, feeling overwhelmed, or even if you're having an incredible day, go on a 10-minute walk in nature. As long as you're near literally one tree, I say it counts as being in nature. Doing that little walk, giving yourself a breath, to stay away from technology just for 10 minutes. It's not that long, it's really easy, but it will pay off in dividends for you. If you're stressing about things, even if you don't feel like you're super stressed, in the back of your mind, you are stressed, taking that little breather, it might stop you from binging later that night. It might keep you going to the gym if you plan to go to the gym later in the day. It adds up tremendously and you'll feel even better. You'll have a better mood because being in nature is where we're supposed to belong. Getting that fresh carbon dioxide from the trees and the nature around you feels really good and it really helps. So 10 minutes a day, walk outside, walk too, not jog, no run. If you really, really love running, you're a track athlete in high school or something like that and it's your peaceful place, sure you can do it. But ultimately for most people, 90% of people, I would say just go for a walk. It's gonna pay a bunch. Make sure you're having consistent progress too. As long as you're constantly seeing the scale go down a little bit, I would say 1 to 2 pounds a week is the perfect zone you want to be in. And you're like, well, that's not a lot. I want to lose 5 pounds in a week. I want to lose 10 pounds in a week. You're doing it too fast. And the thing is, when you lose weight too fast, you're going to gain it back even faster. Think about it like that. If you do it slowly and consistently, you're going to make permanent fat loss. But if you're like, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds, 50 pounds in a week, oh, my friend, he cut out all the sugars, he cut out all the carbs, and he lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Like, can you believe that? And I'm like, I can't believe that. But let me check back again in a month and see what his weight is like. Because I can bet you he's probably gonna gain 30 to 40 pounds even, because that's just how it works. That's how our bodies work. Support, that is a huge thing. If you have a friend that goes to the gym and they know a decent amount about exercise, as long as they know the same amount as you or a little bit more, I would say go with them whenever you can. That's gonna be super fun because you're gonna have them holding you accountable and saying, hey, look, if you're at the same level, then it's like, hey, we're gonna learn together. And if you're also dieting too, you can share your meal plans with each other. Share some meals, some calorie trackers, whatever it is that helps you both grow, that's gonna help you a ton. Or if you do have a coach or something like that, that's gonna help you even more from there. So, bringing it back in, why does this work so well? Because it's literally tailored for success. Because it needs to be sustainable, and when it's sustainable, you can keep up with it. And remember, going back to what we said previously, keeping up with it for the long run, consistently being consistent, making small changes, seeing little periods of growth is gonna pay in dividends, okay? So that's why, is because these small subtle changes. So for your calories, you're gonna wanna find your maintenance calories and lower them slowly, week by week. And if you're not sure what your calories are, start tracking them. Use an app like Macros, MyFitnessPal. Those are both 2 really good apps. I use Macros, it has no ads or anything like that, and it's really good for you because actually knowing how much you're consuming might be radically different than based off your guesses and what you think everything is. So now to get a little deeper into the nitty-gritty of how you can actually do this, I gave you some tips now, but this is gonna be the biggest thing right here. Set realistic, achievable goals for yourself for next week, next month, and for this year. Those 3 things, if you do this consistently, you're gonna be winning all the time. Your daily habits are probably the most important piece of that all. Say, hey, I'm gonna go on my 10-minute walk. I'm going to count my calories. And then for your weekly goals, you say, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym 4 days a week. And then I'm also gonna keep up with my daily goals. Those things are not that hard. They're not that big of an ask. They barely take any time, but they're gonna pay off a bunch in the long run, because you have to think about it. If you get 1% better every single day, at the end of the year, that's 365% that you've improved from when you started. Like we said, you should go to the gym 4 hours a week, 1 hour per session, 4 days a week. I would suggest scheduling this, looking at your week, saying what time you have to go to work, what time you have other obligations like going out to dinner, everything like that, and finding time where you're sure you'll have an hour to go to the gym. I would say mark off an hour and a half, just so you can think about how long it takes to change, how long it takes to drive to the gym, how long it takes to put your stuff away and take a shower when you get back home. But ultimately, being in the gym, starting your workout should last 1 hour, no longer, no shorter. What you're going to be doing is this split. So the push day is chest, shoulders, and triceps. Then the next day you're going to do a pull day, which is what we call it, because you do your back and biceps. Those are your pulling movements, working those muscles. And you're going to have a leg day, which is, quads, hamstrings, calves, your leg muscles. And the fourth day, you're going to do quads, the front part of your legs, back, your back, and your abs. And you're gonna use compound lifts. So these are things like the bench press on the push day. It literally works your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. Then you can do things like lateral raises for just your shoulders. You can do fly movement for just your chest. Things like that. That's how you're basing off all these days, so that you can be in there for an hour. And then for reps and sets, I would say about 3 sets for everything would be pretty good. And you're gonna wanna keep it in the higher rep range, about 12 to 15. And then for more compound movements, I would say 10 to 12. Like for the bench press, you can do 10 to 12. But for the flies, for the lateral raises, I would say 12 to 15. Same thing goes for leg day. For a squat, I would say about 10 to 12 reps, 3 sets. And then for something like a leg extension, I would say 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. Now, a huge thing that personally exploded me in my physique was tracking your progress. Track how much weight you're using, because then you can compare it to last week. Be like, hey, last week I did 135 pounds on bench. I'm gonna try for 155 this week. And if you can get it, you know you're making progress, and you know that your body in the mirror is gonna look different very soon, because if you're gaining strength with the right form, you'll be putting on muscle. Now, you should be having your maintenance calories, and you want to lower that by 350 per week. So say my maintenance calories is 2,700. The first week, give it 2,700. The second week, I'll lower it down to 2,350. The third week, I'll lower it down to 2,000, so on and so forth, until I'm at a happy body fat percentage where I'm actually comfortable with what I see in the mirror. You're gonna edit this in your tracker app, like MyFitnessPal or Macros, anything like that. And then find someone to hold you accountable. Have it be a friend, have it be maybe your partner. Be like, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym. I just want you to make sure that I'm going to the gym 4 days a week. Have someone there to hold you accountable. That's gonna work so much better than if you do this on your own. So if you've been trying this and have failed attempts for a while, or you're just not sure on a couple little small things, you have a couple questions, you can drop them in the comments. I'll answer all comments here. But if you're looking for that kind of consistency and someone to hold you accountable, which is like a big thing, like I literally just said, I have a free strategy call. You can book it in the description below. I only have a couple spots, but you just do select a time, answer a few questions, and we'll hop on a call. 100% free, it'll be like 45 minutes to an hour. You can ask me any questions you want. I'll ask you some questions to see where you're at, write out your goals, plan everything for you, completely free. So if that sounds of interest to you, you can check that out in the description below. And if you follow the advice from this video, your transformation will be insane. Your body will literally blow up. You'll lose all the fat you want. You'll build all the muscle you want in record time. Just stick to this stuff. Rewatch this video if you want. Write down notes if you need. But this is so useful and so powerful. And these are things I wish I knew when I started. That's the whole reason I make these videos, is to help you guys out and give you the advice I wish I had way back when I was skinny fat. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you learned something. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do want to book a free strategy call, like I said, that's in the description below. And I'll see you guys next time. You got this.